Hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Submitted for Your Approval, the weekly card review show for Collective, the community-created card game. I am Stranger Side, your Collective community ambassador. I do stuff, and I host the show. We're also joined today by my faithful co-host, Grief.
Howdy, folks.
And my other co-host, who doesn't have an adjective yet. We'll find him an adjective someday. Empty Folder.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, we were going to have a guest today, so we'll actually have picks from a guest, but we ran into some technical issues, and sadly, we weren't able to do it. Miss ya. Still be interesting to have you on the show sometime later. I'm not going to reveal who. It's a big surprise. The all-season, so I'm just going to hop into the accepted submissions. The All-Seizing Eye is a 3-drop mind 1/1 robot specter from Mortstall, Realm of the Dead Things. With Summon, choose C or Through. The C mode is units lose duelist and unblockable in this game's +2/+2. And the Through mode is pick a unit in an enemy graveyard, banish all copies of it for both players. So I actually said I was a fan of this card, and Puapka was like, why would you be a big fan of Green Man Tech? And I was like, it's interesting. It's an interesting card. I just like it. So the one thing that does make me sad about this is I originally thought the first mode got untargetable instead of unblockable as it's hate against. And honestly, if people are still looking to push this thing up, I think that would be an interesting addition if we wanted to do that.
No. No.
Well, it just really fits with the theming of the All-Seizing Eye, is the thought. It sees you. It sees through your soul, Grief. Grief,
I don't have one, so that's why I don't really care. It's fine. It's a fine tech card. That's basically it. It's good to see more graveyard hate in the same terms of forget, but Deadingon, which basically banishes all the copies. We also had a similar thing like Who way back when, so it's nice. Just to call it Green Man Hate is kind of disingenuous and basically misses the point entirely. So to have this kind of card, especially with its flexibility in that terms, is pretty nifty, considering that probably for the most part, you will use it as anti-duelist tech.
Yeah. And for corner case stuff against Unblockable, that's not bad either. Empty, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a tech card. It having 2 modes means it's going to be useful in like a lot more situations. I think a lot of the time you're going to be running it for the second mode, just so you can have that graveyard banish to answer something that your opponent's making a bunch of copies on. But then you have like the backup where you can just play it as a 3/3 and maybe hit a duelist or two.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have that sort of like mass banish effect back in standard. I do kind of wish it was neutral, mostly so I could run it in more decks. But yeah, overall good card.
Yeah. Good job on the art, though. Big eye guy. Trackula is a 3-drop spirit 2/3 toon vampire from Karachar. Karachar seeing some love. Agile and Life Bond and Agile units cost 1 less. So opens up the room for Agile, keyword tribal, perhaps. Grief, what do you think about this? Why'd you pick this?
I've wanted this card for so damn long in the game, and finally it is. I think the last time we talked about it was 6 months ago, if not longer. So finally having Trackula and the semi-agile Metas tribal card in the game is something that I really wish to see way sooner.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's interesting making Agile matter. I know there's one card like a year or two ago in MTG that finally made haste matter. And so it's interesting to see that we're actually doing this. I don't know if there's a shell for this. Is there? Or is this just sitting there asking for you to figure out something with it?
Basically, we also have like stuff that kind of cares about fast as well when we look at the speed demons from Legacy. And this just falls into the same category where, I mean, the speed demons also give all fast cards agile, if I remember correctly, and the other one reduces the cost of all fast cards. So if you really want to play a jank pile, put all three of them, Trackula and the other two, in one single deck and have a field day. But overall, this is just a cute little card that will probably find a home moving forward, but it's not too obvious where it actually sits currently.
Yeah. Empty, what do you think of this?
I mean, it has a lot of potential. In standard, it's in kind of a rough spot. I think if Birthchain Blight still had Agile, there would be a lot more potential with it, just because you could get all of those out for 0. Like cost reduction really hits like the strongest when it's reducing things to 0. But I mean, it has potential. It's not right now.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. The Scaled Earthshaker is an 8-drop strength 5/9 dragon from Talira with flying and summon and slayer ready this, and active deal 1 damage to all non-flying units. So we have another unit with summon ready this. I'm excited. And that active is potentially really, really cool. Of course, you already got to get it out to 8, so it's big, you got to invest quite a bit into it to get it going. But, of course, my corner case jank is going to be using Irradiated Bite or something, or the Deadly Nightshade off Affinity to slap Deadly on this, and saying that nobody can have a board forever until you get rid of my Scaled Earthshaker. Empty,
Which
what do
is
you think
pretty
of this?
easy to do.
Oh yeah, this is a great card. I don't think that synergy is too medium. I think more realistically, you just give this life bond and just gain tons of life since that's already in strength. But if you want to do the deadly combo, like this ready is when it comes in, so you can actually catch your opponent out with that. Overall, like a really interesting card, sort of like a continuous Force of Cinders effect. I really like it. I think it's very interesting.
What do you think, Grief?
It's fun enough fine for dragons, considering that they also have in Legacy the anti-flyer matter stuff in mind. So, well, maybe you can fit it into there as an off affinity card, but overall, you will probably just slap it as a tag option as a semi token board way. But at that point, it's probably not even good enough for that specific effect. Because if you do not capitalize on actually killing stuff with a 1 damage ping, it's not really that nice. K, it's a 5-cost flying beater with pseudo agile because it readies itself. But overall, it's a fine card, but nothing to really write much home about because it just drops way too late. Yeah. Sure, you can probably ramp it out on turn 6 to 7 with, or even if you really dedicate for it, on turn 5 with promo, but there's so many better options.
Yeah, I sort of get it. There's a lot of cool stuff in
that.
That have more impact at the same cost.
A pretty competitive list. I'm not sure what their matchup is against Agra. I think it's pretty good right now, to the point where they might not even need this. But like they do have enough cost reduction effects that getting this out turn 5 is like that's fairly realistic. Like that can happen.
A very niche corner case where this could be useful is maybe a rage deck.
Oh yeah, that could work. I don't know. We'll see. Ghost in the Code is, and I'm very excited to be talking. This was picked by our guest who isn't here, who sadly was not able to join us. Ghost in the Code is a 5-drop mine, 3/5 human trickster hacker from nowhere in particular, with unblockable, agile, and when this deals damage to a player, draw a card, and entrance deals 2 damage to the opponent. So this was from our friends Cryptic Gaming, who were We had some people who were joined us a while back, but they were unsure about whether or not they want to stick around. And I think they're coming back to stay, which I'm very happy about. So this is a complete package. You got the unblockable, and it's a source of draw. This makes Number Station cry, because this is basically Number Station without the added little Rubik's Cube that Number Station threw at you. But of course, it is now susceptible to removal, so it doesn't have the untar that Number Station had roughly half the time. Grief, what do you think of this?
Didn't play Number Station, so I didn't really remember that was the case.
Oh, yeah, it had it had unblockable on even hand size, untargetable on odd hand size, or the reverse of that. And it had, when it deals damage, draw a card. So this is the upgrade. This is the glow-up version of it, basically.
So this is the good version.
Yeah. Sure. Nobody likes my card. I get it. Go.
No.
I like the idea. It was really weak, though. I tried playing it.
This is a perfect little package. 5 cost, 3/5 with agile and unblockable is already pretty potent. Having with a draw effect, but adding the extra. Oh yeah, no, I will draw a card. Damn you, I will do it. Here, ping 2. And now, next turn, can you actually deal with this or draw another one? I will just get more and more. I will just get more and more benefits out of it. Sorry, not even next turn. If you cannot deal with it until the beginning of combat, that was what I wanted to say. Because this will probably, in most cases, reliably draw you 2 cards.
Yeah. You're definitely getting 1. You're probably getting the second unless it gets auto-removed. Yeah, this is really potent card draw. MD, what do you think of this?
Yeah, this looks extremely strong. Maybe even too strong. There's like you're threatening 5 damage the turn it comes in 2 cards. And like, yeah, it's a really good package. It's impossible to trade up with since you're getting a card immediately, and card advantage at least. And it's pretty tanky at 5 health too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it's really interesting.
This card is pretty much playable in Legacy, and that's pretty good reach for a 5 cost tip.
Although I can guarantee you that somebody's going to try cosmetic it into Aesthetica pretty soon. Just because it fits the aesthetic so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Explosive Ascension is a 4-drop spirit action from Seal of Elementary with banish a unit. Deal that unit's HP as damage to all of its enemy units unless they dodge. Dodge here just means that they have to exhaust themselves. Now, of course, exhausted units can't dodge. And here's what I like about this card, and here's why I want to talk about it. By the way, we started the active submission, so this is now stuff on the sub. I like the idea that people are trying to do fun and interesting things with this, by the way, isn't even a keyword, a hook word, or an action word. This is just a mechanic word. So I think it's really interesting that people are trying to play around in that space. Dodge itself is pretty interesting. I think there's a game icons art that could have gone for that. But this is fine. The problem with this, as it stands, besides I think that word's misspelled, is it's just, I think this is too good. This is scary good because at 4, you're banishing a unit to either do what is probably either a board wipe or a mass exhaust and just ram through the rest of your damage and win. I don't know if this is okay at 4 because it is just a whole bunch of value. Besides that, it's cute. It's really interesting. It's got some cool ideas there, and I want this to get like tweaked and then resubmitted. But where's it sitting right now? Oh, we don't know where it's sitting, so can't really comment on that. Grief, what do you think of this?
I like fling effects. This is not something you should do with a fling effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 6 to 7 mana because this can actually be a pseudo board wipe. Or as you already mentioned, yeah, if you do not want me to kill half your board, exhaust that stuff. And the cards that don't care about the damage because the HP value was too low of the unit, then okay, that still basically was a mass burn effect on your side of the board.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you are a control deck that plays really minute amounts of units, you can pretty much banish a problem unit on your opponent's side because you don't care about the backlash.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the other thing is for a boardless deck, you can also use this as a 4-cost removal, which is about on par. But the thing is, like,
no, as a 4-cost hard banish removal.
Oh yeah, banish removal specifically. Yeah, that's the thing is we priced hard removal at about 4 right now, right?
Yeah, for destruction.
And this is like one-sided AoE on steroids because you can actually control and scale it up as far as you want. Empty, what do you think of this?
I mean, I agree with your assessment. I think it's way too strong, but the effect is very interesting. I'm not sure about like how dodge will work as a keyword, but like it keeps the card at uncommon because otherwise, like the text would just be massive. So you using the extra token card correctly, and you offload some of that text, even if it doesn't work out as a keyword.
Yeah,
full card just needs go back to the drawing board with the balance and.
Yeah, the balance on this card needs to, as far as dodge goes, dodge is an interesting idea. It's just that exhaust is worth so little as an effect that unless it's already hitting multiple things, I don't really see a lot of space for it. But I could see something that's like deal 2 damage to 2 units unless they dodge for real cheap, right?
Yeah.
That could be something dodge could reasonably do. You got to ask yourself, can I come up with 5 cards that use this effect off the top of my head? And the answer is I could get to 3 or 4 maybe. But it seems like a lot of them are straightforward like burn type actions. So we'll see if they play around with this. So yeah, it's got some really good solid ideas there, and that's why I wanted to talk about this card. So Jace, I hope it does well. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, we would advise a little bit more tweaking. The Mad Theorist is a 5-drop mine 4/5 Chrono Scientist from Xandar. With summon, shuffle your hand into your deck. Choose to draw either that many 3 or less cost cards or 4 or greater cost cards. So I am the designer of Draw to Elsewhere, and I absolutely love targeted draw, and I love shuffle back and I love wheel effects. And this is just, I don't know, it hits my heart. I can see running this in my Improv to Win, Vrictic, Black Rift deck. I could see running this in a lot of different places, actually, just to either shuffle away junk or just get a bunch of different stuff out. So I'm really excited about this, and I can see a lot of possibilities. Spike did really great with the art. This makes me happy. Empty, what do you think of this?
Yeah, it's a great card. It's really interesting. I have a hard time coming up with like exactly the deck that would want to run this, but there's some very powerful stuff you can do with this. I guess one example would be if you have like Billionaire Purchase, you can create a ton of robots in your hand and then turn them all into 4+ cost cards, so you're guaranteed to not drawing back after you shuffle. Really cool applications. I think it will see play somewhere, but I have yet to theorize where that would be.
Yeah, I think the two things I really see for this is for aggro or decks that are more aggressively bent that still run a couple 4+ cost cards to wheel away their top end so they can get more gas, or to wheel away their gas when they're finally ready to play out their top end. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is like it comes down fairly late.
Yeah.
And if you're aggro, you may just not have any cards left.
I feel like this 5 could be lower. Maybe not at this stat line, but I think actually it being at 4 would be a really interesting place for it to sit. But the effect's so interesting. I just want to see it happen. Like if this got in and it got maybe an update that's just -1 to all these numbers, that would be perf. At least for my applications. Again, it's kind of hard to see where the specific application would be. Grief, what do you think?
I mean, this could probably be a 4-mana 4/4 because it's the 5-cost. A 5-cost unit would actually have a vanilla 7/7 stat line. So this is trading 5 stat points for a very weird reshuffle effect, because weird is very weird to put in that way, because considering in that fact, yeah, you are reshuffling for targeted cost ranges, but you either are a heavy control deck that do not need that doesn't really need any cantrip effects anymore in the hand at that point, or you are a combo deck that basically wants to draw into its engine, and that's the point. This is probably a very good combo extender, but we don't have a combo or the resource management to actually capitalize off of that.
Yeah.
And if we do, you actually run the risk of having this card be a semi-dead card in hand.
Yeah.
Because you actually have to use your resources beforehand, or hope that you get them back when you reshuffle them via this card.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and I would prefer to see it at lower, if anything, but it's a really cool trick. The Dire Chupacabra is a 2-drop spirit 2/2 undead wolf from nowhere in particular, using this beautiful art from Faedus with rebound, life bond, and summon deals 2 to itself and permanently gains 2 HP. So I feel like there's so many fun and interesting ideas here. I feel like they need a little bit of tuning to make it really shine. So the biggest one I noticed is that I don't think it's really treating this like the drawback it is. You do gain the stuff off the life bond, but the fact that it's 2 is just, I mean, it doesn't trigger any gain 3, and if it was just a little bit more, I think they could have done it. So you play this down the first time, you're spending 2 mana, gaining 2 mana, which is way under curve. Second time this drops, you get a 2/2 for 2. And that, or no, wait, it'll be a 2/4 at that point.
It'll be a 2/2.
Yeah, the first time it's a 2/2, and the second time it's a 2/4.
No, the first
it'll be
time
a 2/4. It'll be a 2/4, but it'll actually have 6 HP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like the synergies here in actually Unburial Site is still standard legal. So Unburial Site's a great place to look at this because it's a 2-drop that has potential to get really good stats. I feel like this is just in a weird spot with its line being very defensively statted. And I don't know. I feel like there's some cool ideas here. It's just a little weird in the direction, but maybe you guys are going to tell me there's something I'm missing. So Grief, I'll let you get started.
I don't really have a combo in mind yet for that card. Probably there is one. And I basically have to say this is a very clean and perfect iteration of that card. I don't really see a fault in it. Sure, it's very wonky and quirky in what it does, but that just adds towards the potential of it. How can I best break this card?
Yeah. I feel like it was really going to break, though. It needs a attack buff.
Not really.
Unless...
Because...
No, what are you running this in? Are you running this in Bullock? Are you running this in
second. Wait a second.
Sorry.
You're not running this for the attack buff, because the very funniest thing is about actual scaling HP. So we just looked at a fucking one-sided board wipe, by the way.
Yeah.
On the other hand, this does the effect whenever it is summoned. So what happens if we manage to make it a rebound sloop? How much HP can we get off of that? And what can we do with capitalizing off of that? Sure, if we actually manage to make it a 3 HP, a damage loop with a little bit altered stats, then it's something, it's a different story entirely. But if we can build something around similar things like a king loop with this unit, which basically just heals you ad nauseum, then yeah, that's one way to potentially break it.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't know where I would be putting this. I don't feel like I would be putting it in DAT because I got to find a way. Well, maybe with DAT. I want to put this in Baluk. It's probably the problem with my mindset is I want to put it in Baluk and it doesn't go in Baluk.
I mean, the best part about it would probably be Marie, so I don't really know why you want to put it into DAT and Baluk, because it actually doesn't provide anything for those decks.
You don't need to synergize that much with this card for it to be playable. It's just good life gain. You can just run it against aggro, and it's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my only problem with the card is I wish the gains 2 HP was first and then the damage, so that was clear how the interaction worked for everyone.
Yeah.
Because even I'm assuming it lives the first time it comes down, but I could be wrong. It could just die.
I probably.
Oh, the thing is, I see what you're meaning now. Yeah, it's that. Okay, yeah, that did confuse me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't check for death until the effect is done.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's how it works.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, man, that was so confusing. Okay. So now that we understand that, the card looks a lot better to me. Now that I know it sticks the first time. I thought it died the first time.
Oh, no, it's really good.
Yeah, okay.
T2 life bond
this
and
is
just
Kodama. This is a bigger Kodama. I understand you now. I am all for a bigger Kodama. I know what that goes in. So yeah, okay. Now we're straight. This is a cool idea. Upvote this, guys. But upvote this. But
let's move on.
Cosmetic it to switch the order of those effects because that was super confusing.
Yeah.
Circus in the Clouds is a 2-drop strength 0/4 angel place from nowhere in particular with flying and can't attack, and your places have flying in all zones. And when you play a flying unit, create a dove. A dove is a 1/1 flying bird angel. Things I like about this card: flyers, lots of flyers, interesting place synergy, and more flyers. We've talked about a version of this card before, but a lot of things have happened since then, and it's doing really well on this up. So I don't have any ideas of what to talk about next, so I'm going to let you guys talk first. Empty, you go.
I don't have too much to say. I mean, it's interesting for like pushing a strength flyers archetype. I don't think you'd run it in Dragon, although because that list is very competitive with its cards, but maybe you would. The other thing is like you can run it off Affinity in Mind, and it may be worth it for that flyer set. Just because even at 3 mana, like it's not that bad. It's fine.
Yeah, I feel like it's in sort of a weird place. I don't know what hero it goes to because this is like a swarm thing. Well, I mean, it gives Heldem a bunch of blockers, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Strength has always had that issue where they just don't have a swarm hero.
Yeah.
So swarm has always been weak on them.
I mean, I guess maybe we could start, and maybe this is a legacy thing. Maybe Grief can tell us about this. Can I go do Hawkins Angel Tribal? Will that work? Angel Tribal. No? Okay. I came up with an idea. Now you got to come up with a better one.
Okay. How does the first question sound, or if this cares about actually playing the card or if it enters play? Because I forgot to look at the blocks. It says when you play a card, but sometimes that's iffy.
Well, if it was when it enters play, it would loop endlessly.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Sure, yeah. Yeah, in that case, it makes sense. Second point. Yeah, you have very good, we have very damn well good flying support of Affinity and in Affinity. And funny enough, this actually fits in any kind of deck that has a pretty good amount of flying units, even if it's the only place in your deck, because that's probably the case. Um, the next point about this card is actually, even on Legacy, you would probably run it off Affinity with your flying core, with Totem, which is it a place as well? Or is it just an artifact? Sky Totem. Because when that's also placed, then holy hell, all your Sky Totems now reduce also the cost of other Sky Totems and this card. So you don't even care much about Affinity penalty. This just is a reliable source of tokens, which hell yeah.
Have unfortunate news for you.
So
My
okay,
totem
so
has one tribe. Totem.
What?
It's not a place.
It's a totem. It needs to get updated to something.
It's a totem.
Okay, so both of you guys have said this has a home in off Affinity. Does it have a home in on Affinity? Is what I want to know.
I just said in any well-saturated flying deck. If you have a flying list in red, then yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's just, it seems like the most obvious answer is, why is this in this Affinity?
No, that's not a question I would ask.
Okay.
No, I think it's in the correct Affinity. I think it's good when cards like have some incentive to run them off Affinity.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go do my Legacy Hawkins Angel deck. Thank you very much. The Affinity Moth is a 3-drop strength 0/1 insect from nowhere in particular with rebound, and it gains attack and HP equal to this card's cost, and entomb, it costs 1 more permanently. So first time you play this, it is a, let's do some math, guys. First time you play this, it is a 3/4. Second time you play this, it is a 4/5. If you're an off Affinity, which it's trying to tell you, Affinity Moth, run an off Affinity, it is cost, it's better. It actually gets better off Affinity, or at least it fills in a different spot in the curve.
It gets +1/+1 more.
Yeah.
It dies.
Yeah, it gets +1/+1 each time. So I don't know. So people who really like the splashing deck and Shifter, although this actually doesn't need Shifter.
No.
You would actually run with this with Shifter.
It itself doesn't need Shifter. Decks with Shifter might need it, but not the other way around. Is all I was saying.
No, I mean, you would probably run this with a new version of Shifter, because the new Shifter now increases cost.
Oh, yeah. So actually, you can still use it for something. So yeah, you get that kind of stuff running around. I don't really know if I like too much the stuff that makes off Affinity into a side grade effect. That's just a personal preference. This is quirky. This is interesting. I feel like it goes in Brawlin or something. Just throw a realm on it and call it done. But maybe that's just me. Grief, what do you think?
It costs too much. That's the issue. Because the moment it actually hits 5 mana, it is way undercosted. Way understated for its cost. Because, as we already mentioned in this episode, a 5-cost unit on vanilla stats is a 7/7.
This guy doesn't have flying.
That's the next point.
I just realized that. It's a big bug with wings and it doesn't have flying.
That's the next point, which is funny enough and actually an effect that kind of misses. This card needs another keyword besides rebound. Or if you really just want to keep the rebound, make it cost 1.
Yeah.
Or make it cost 2. So even at the worst cases, it's a 4 mana 3/4, which you can maybe plaster some effect on. The thing is, I think this card should have a should be a 1/1 to begin with, so it actually scales better.
Yeah. Agreed.
Cool design seed needs some numbers tweaking and probably another ability, regardless of what ability.
This could be fun in the shifter summon deck if it had flying. Want to try making a shifter summon deck. But yeah, why does this thing not have flying? It's got wings. It's a moth. This is here to confuse me. That's what it is. This is planted by my enemies. Empty. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I agree with your assessment. It needs flying or an extra stat point or just something. Because the current version, like as it increases in cost and rebound, stats are worth less and less as you put more mana into them. And it becomes more and more undercurved. Like it's just going to be impossible to even play this thing without losing at higher costs. Because you're just going to be so far behind by doing so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it needs a sturdier base, and it needs to make a little bit more sense. And not. What's the other card that confused me? A Dead Zone card as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a learning process.
Both the cards I think are good ideas.
They're both great ideas. They just have these little trip ups and hiccup, and I think if you just tweak them just a little bit, they'd be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, good work. Keep up the good work. The Phantom of the Apra is a 2-drop Spirit 2/2 Spectre Bard from Concierta with summon, discard a card, then draw a card. When this is discarded, trigger this unit's summon. So basically, it's just summon and entomb, discard a card, then draw a card. Unless we ever get something that overrides summons. And I pray we never see that day. You can do some really jank stuff.
Single player.
What?
Single player. Nothing.
Yeah. Empty, what do you think of this?
Oh yeah, this is a great card. It fits straight into Spectre, and it plays really well into that sort of combo discard that is like the main reason I like the archetype so much. It's like you discard a bunch of things and then they like chain together and you get a bunch of value. And this is perfect for that. You can like dump off your rebound cards to get extra card advantage from it and sort of make up for the inherent disadvantage that you get by discarding things all the time as Spectre. I think it's a great pick for that.
Yeah, it's got a... Oh, it's when this discarded, not when this dies.
Yeah.
I can't read. Sorry, guys. So this lets you pile on discards. Okay, sorry, guys. So yeah, okay. Yeah, this is like your Grief card. I should have let Grief talk first. Grief, talk.
This has a very cute combo. It's a 3-card combo. Funny enough, it's a 3-card combo where you only need 2 cards. This and Isla Contract. And the start of game trigger of Shifter. Because Isla Contract cares about 4 cost and lower units. Because Isla Contract discards a unit or a card in your hand, and if it's a 4 or less cost unit, it triggers its summon ability. Now, Shifter increases the cost of this card by 1 and adds rebound to it. How does the interaction work? You play Idle Contract, targeting Phantom of the Opera, discard it, and return immediately Phantom of the Opera because rebound triggers to your hand. So, what happens? You activate the effect of Idle Contract, trigger and discard summon. Discard a card and draw a card. You discard Phantom of the Opera. So now you have on your ability chain 1 Idol of the Contract trigger of Phantom of the Opera, 1 Phantom of the Opera trigger of the Idol Contract, and a Phantom of the Opera trigger of the triggered Phantom of the Opera trigger of Idol Contract. This is very cute and probably can do more than just what I've listed.
Yeah. I thought there was gonna be an actual like end goal to that rather than just
You
discarding a bunch
just
of cards.
you just drew 3 cards by discarding 1 card, and probably only have to discard 1 more.
Oh, it's true. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, and you can proc a bunch of discard triggers potentially.
Okay, I think you are drawing also a 4th card because of idle contract, wasn't it?
So idle contract draws 1, and then this combo draws 1. So you've created meticulous research.
No, it'll draw 3. You'll draw
attacks.
3 off Phantom procs. So you draw
have to discard
4
once for each time.
No, you just discard Phantom each time.
No. You discard.
No, it only rebounds once.
You can.
So you're getting the extra value. So you get
exactly.
1 CA from idle contract and 1 from the rebound off this. So you're up 1 in card advantage.
Which means it's meticulous research. Funny enough, though, it actually fixes your hand better because you can actually get your.
You're going through like 5 cards to do this, I think.
I don't know. I think it's cute. So yeah, this could be interesting. Now that I actually read the thing.
Reading card explains the card.
Yeah. Obvious stuff, cool stuff with Marie, potential cool stuff with just any sort of Spectre synergy. So I like it. I don't really have all that much to say about it. I'm glad that I have my panelists here with me to talk about it. The Greedy Guzzler is a 2-drop Spirit 2/2 Spectre from Mortstall, Realm of the Dead Things. When a card enters the graveyard from a player's hand, give this +1/+1. So we finally have discard your hands energy that works really well with the Phantom of the Opera we just talked about. And I already know that combo now. So Spectres, obviously, Spectres. Is there anything more to this card? Empty. What do you think about this?
It's too strong. I love playing Spectres, but don't give this to Spectres. It's too good. Like this will grow insanely quickly. You can just play it. It's like the little 1/1 that says each player discards a card and there's rebound. Camera man. That immediately gets this up to a 4/4. And like Spectres just have tons of discard. Like this will grow insanely quickly. And it's on 2-drop.
It's still a vanilla at the end of the day, though.
Yeah. But like when you're attacking with this for like 6 damage turn 3 or 5 damage, like that's not that hard to do, especially if Phantom of the Opera gets in. Like this card can be really nice.
Well, who's playing around with a mic?
I'm not. Grief, what do you think of this?
I think it's a fine card, and at the end of the day, it's maybe just so. The thing is, yeah, sure, it can probably grow a little bit out of hand, but you are burning a lot of cards in your hand to actually make that work. Sure, Spectres can capitalize off self-discard, but that's the only home. And in the end of the day, you rather wish to actually discard a card and have a valuable payoff that's more than just stats, because you can get that even without a discard effect. And on top of that, yeah, sure, this can grow this can grow pretty large, but it's not a permanent buff. So the moment it actually leaves board, is bounce or whatever, you're just like added with a 2/2.
Yeah, you just defenestrate it or whatever. I don't know. So I'm not worried about it. Because it's not.
I think it's really scary.
So, well, it's sitting at 1, so that might be why. Maybe people are not sure how to feel about it. The Chroma Cluster. I'm actually excited to talk about this card. This is interesting. Chroma Cluster is a 3-drop neutral 3/3 undead wisp specter from Chromosome. Tribal line's a mouthful. End of turn, if you have 3 or more copies of a card in your graveyard, banish them and create 3 copies in hand in each affinity. So, Green Men is the obvious thing that you can do with this. Other cool things, maybe few and far between, but someone's going to tell me they got a better idea. Grief, what do you think?
The fuck am I using this card for? I mean, the good thing about Green Man is that you're copying a neutral unit. The bad thing about this card is it creates a copy of that specific card in 3 different affinities. One is on affinity, 2 other cost 1 more. Now, what card interaction that makes you want to copy a shit ton of the same card in your graveyard is worth it, creating 2 other of affinity copies of it. And if you're already running so many copy effects that you have reliable 3+ copies of that thing in your graveyard, why do you need this card?
Yeah, I see what you mean. And I mean, I actually play around with a version of the Green Man deck. I play Green Man Trash. And this is not something I'm really wanting for all that much. I mean, 2 mana later, I get Bellist. At 3, I get Art of Replication. And my 4-drop slot is Green Trench Coat. And I guess I don't have a lot going at 3 except Art of Replication, but I have a lot of cheap equipment I'd rather be playing. So it doesn't super excite me. It was just the first thing I could actually think of to do with it. And the other thing is, well, first of all, I think it's worded weird. 3 copies in hand in each affinity is, I don't know, maybe that could be worded a little bit more carefully. I'm fairly certain we both understood what it did.
It could be interpreted that you get 9 copies.
Yeah, it's worded a little ambiguously, but that's fine. TextCrunch, I understand. It's just, I don't really know what I'm doing with this. Even for the KM buff, so one of them's cost reduction, which basically undoes the thing you just did. One of them is duelist, and the other one is a card draw. And even so, I would be cycling several times for those buffs. And so unless we get a lot more cares about specific affinity or cares about off affinity, I'd rather just run Art of Rep and not have this weird 3/3 sitting around.
The funny thing is you mentioned that you don't really have much going on in the 3-drop slot. This is a 3-cost card that you don't want to drop on turn 3 or cannot really drop on turn 3.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird late game value engine.
Yeah, because there's no way you're. Yeah, and I'd rather just spam trash at that point. Because there's no way I'm getting 3 into the graveyard. Oh, 3 copies of a card. So there is one card I could do with this, and that's my Shanker. Green Man on 1, Shanker on 2. This on 3 gets Shankers back, but I don't know. It's weird.
Wait. Shanker is, it makes the other copies from that thing, right?
What?
The Shanker.
It mills your other copies of it when you play it, and it gives +1/+2.
Wait a second. Maybe I found a use for this. Graveworm. How many Graveworms do we create? For what mana?
I think it's 2.
So we have to play that twice. How much does it cost? 1 or 2 mana?
Oh, no, it has rebound.
It has
so
rebound.
You can do it twice.
Yeah,
it only creates 1. So, yeah.
Oh, it only makes 1?
Yeah.
That could have been a use for it. I'll definitely give you that.
Sorry, Zinker. I was close.
Yeah, sure. No. It's 2 costs and only creates 1.
Yep.
It's about the best you can do with it.
Not good enough.
And that's probably why it's sitting at what it's sitting at. So anyways, let's move on to we're at the middle of Empty's picks, and then we got the 3 picks from the this is the last of Empty's picks.
Yeah.
Klaus is a 5-drop strength 3/5 human arcanist from Carthian and a legendary at that. Ward unblockable and agile. When this attack, shuffle 2 Coals into your opponent's deck, shuffle 2 Presents into your deck. Each player draws a token. Entrance, Shuffle 5 presents into your deck. Shuffle 5 coals into your opponent's deck. The special present is a 0-cost gift. It's basically a trap in reverse. Gain 3 HP, draw a card. When you draw this, play it. The flaming lump of coal is just a trap in forwards. Take 3 damage and draw a card, and when you draw this, play it. So this was just a flavorful take on Santa Claus I wanted to do for Carthian. He's their version of Santa Claus, which is our Santa Claus, but purple. He is just a very straightforward Santa Claus XP. That's not red. That is supposed to be purple. That is canon.
So please, Coca-Cola, don't sue us.
But yeah, so basically the stick was I wanted to do things that were associated with Santa, and I did that as a trap deck, but also traps for you, but a good trap was the thought. MT, what do you think about this?
Does this mean in Carthian that the Christmas colors are purple, white, and green?
Yeah, or purple, white. It might be purple, white, and blue. I haven't decided yet.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I really like the idea. I think this is another one that may be a bit strong. This really gives me, like this and the other one, the Ghost in the Shell, remind me a lot of Fortuna. And that card had to be nerfed because of the, like it's a sort of unblockable, agile value engine sort of thing.
Yeah.
Although with this one, it's not as much of a value engine because you are giving your opponent a card too.
Yeah.
But it is like, I mean, it's a substantial amount of damage. This does attack for 6 the turn it comes in. And it's pretty hard to get rid of with that one.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. Mostly I just wanted this to be a trapper, and then people kept piling on yes and, trying to give this, I think, maybe a little bit too much on the value end. And I might want to scale back on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very effective at what it does.
Yeah. I want to keep the constant calls and constant presence, but maybe lose agile. I could see. I like to keep ward on him, but we'll see.
Yeah. I really like the idea, though. This is a great way of doing a trap card.
Yeah. Grief, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I like these kinds of deck burn, deck spam kind of cards. So Santa Claus is right up my alley. Thing is, though, may this be too potent, as MT already pointed out? Because that dude does a lot.
Well, bear in mind he does give your opponent a card. Whenever he does his attack, you get a net gain of 1 card. Into the cold naturally, it's just poison. I want to see him with entrance synergy and people just trying to go for like the 10 or the 15 or the...
No, you probably you actually play him with a Bard Cultist, which forces players to draw tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys like it, you just think it's a little bit too overpowered. Okay, I'll scale back on it. Okay, now these were the picks from our mystery guest that sadly could not join us today. The Red Nurse is a 3-drop strength 2/4 human healer from nowhere in particular with active, fully heal a unit, give it regenerates, and it attacks. So I really, really like this when it was first submitted, and I like it now, and I think it should get in, and I don't really have too much more to say about it, but maybe someone else is going to say something else. MD, what do you think?
Nitro made a really good call by having this not ready anymore and just making an attack, because they had to keep putting more and more text in to prevent it from looping with different things. Yeah, it's a totally fine card. I like this iteration.
Yeah. So this is really, really good to just have a nice unit charge in a battle. I do like that it doesn't do the looping thing anymore, because that's really, I mean, just poison, having that in the game with the active deck. I think this version should get in, guys. Come on, this is fun. This is the cactus cheerleader from forever ago that I always wanted to get in that never got in, but better. Grief, what do you think?
I don't have anything against Nightingale, so let's just get Nightingale in the game.
I'm gonna guess that's a reference to a thing that I don't know.
No, that's the figure in the artwork.
Oh, I see.
A reference to Fate Grand Order, character Nightingale.
Oh, but it's distinct enough for copyright purposes, right?
Let's move on to the next card.
Guys, Nitro, look into that, please. The Sleepy Snowbear is 1-drop neutral, 1/2 elemental bear from Terraridor with Awaken 2, gain +2/+1. Awaken is just starts at X, reduced by 1 at the end of the turn. When X equals 0, activate this Awaken effect. I really, really like Awaken. I think Awaken's interesting. I've started to think more and more about Awaken and realizing that Awaken should probably just be like 1, but Awaken 2 is already pushing it, and Awaken anything higher than that is just pointless. And so I think it's kind of a weird effect in a weird place. Beyond that, I actually really like this card. It's an interesting way to create a unit that's pushed just past where a vanilla can be, but with an appropriate drawback. And I love units with drawbacks, so I think it's really good. And it's got the super cute Faedus art. Grief, what do you think of this?
Fine card. Also, Bear Tribe. What do I know? I've seen a discussion on the air. This is too pushed or too overpowered. No, this is a very slow 3/3 that before it actually becomes a 3/3 has to sit there for 2 turns. Or for 2 more turns. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing to really write home about.
MT, what do you think of this?
I love Awaken as a keyword. I think it's like a great idea for a keyword, and it has like a ton of different uses. And this is like a totally fine design for it. It's a great little neutral drop that scales up if you let it live for too long.
Yeah. And our last card of the week. Baby Sweets is a 2-drop Spirit 2/1 Food Golem tune from Karchar with Summon Draw unit. This costs 1 less if you paid a card with Feed this turn. I've already talked with Puapka, and apparently they're not changing it, even though I believe that it's absolute just BS. This is a passive ability that got looped in with the summon block, and I believe that just makes it very, very hard to read and ambiguous, but whatever. As it is, so it's a good way to draw a unit, good way to get a food in your deck for Sweets Dragon, off Affinity for some reason, and a potential way to just get more units for the deck that's probably running mostly cheap token creation. MT, what do you think of this?
I mean, it's great for food. It can loop into copies of itself.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. And food doesn't run that many base units since they mostly use token generation, like you said. So you can grab like Wrap Pair or like your Sweets Dragon and get your powerful units that you need to draw into. And honestly, like it's perfectly fine to just drop this even without the feed, just to get the card draw.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 2-drop draw unit replaces itself as pretty good value.
Yeah.
And just sitting there and being a food in your graveyard later, if you're running Sweet Dragon, is really helpful. Is the food deck a KM deck? I haven't really played around with it.
Oh yeah, it is. It's only worse than KM because food is literally all over the place in terms.
Exactly. That's why I was kind of surprised that you said it's off color because
I just wasn't too familiar with the deck, so I stand corrected. I haven't really messed around with it. I might now because this is really interesting, but except for the text issue, which really bugs me. Grief, what do you think?
Yeah, text issue is also a no-go for me. But on the other hand, the upsides outweigh the downsides, because in the end of the day, we can still update it to more readable, uncommon card. And let's be honest, we take every kind of loophole in terms of text crunch that we can get.
Yeah.
Is it good? No. Do we have to deal with it? Yeah, sadly. But on the card itself, it's a nice addition to a food deck. It's probably one very solid addition if you can actually manage the resource gain. So we can probably, if you're lucky, loop multiple copies into each other of this. If you only have a handful of food units that actually benefit of having cards that are food that were played before it.
Yeah. The art, by the way, is absolutely lovely. I live for that. That is so good.
If you really want to mess around with this in Colosseum, play it with a honeypot and brew.
No, don't teach people that. Yeah, in Coliseum, honeypot and brew, definitely.
I mean, I've heard talks of trying to update honey ant brew so that it's not an instant win card.
Yeah, my opinion on honeypot and brew will put post-show banter.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cut the share. So this was a good week. I'm so sorry we couldn't end up having a guest for you guys. We'll try again, maybe with the same guy next week, maybe with someone else. Who knows? So thank you as always, Grief, for joining me. I really like your new green screen. I hope we get to see some fun green screen tech going on.
I will work a little bit with it.
And Empty, as always, good to have you as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, so like, comment, and subscribe. Remind me why I'm doing this. Keep on playing collective and keep on voting on cards. Bye.
See ya.